And we're live, just like that.
Oh, it's
Hello,
absolutely
guys.
beautiful, mate. Absolutely
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is. It's good to be here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Abroad Show here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. We are here on Easter Monday, the 21st of April, 2025. We are here after the second consecutive win from the Carlton Football Club. And therefore, we are here with a bit of a smile on our face. And I've got a very special guest. I've got Ian from the Navy Blue Corner joining me. Hello, mate.
Mate, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us for a win, which is lovely. Hasn't been a lot this season, so it's nice to slip in at the right time. Absolutely loving it. Like we needed this stretch of games this fortnight. Like obviously, look, we know the opposition isn't crazy at the moment. It's West Coast, it's North Melbourne. They're going through their own struggles, but we needed this more than anyone right now. And so it's just been nice to get a bit of breathing space for a couple of weeks.
I laughed when you said thanks for getting me in after a win. You could tell who I rely on for some positive vibes after a loss. Uh, take it as a sign of respect. You know, when we lose, it's like, all right, we're in the hole. Who do I need to speak to? So, look, it is always good talking about a win. We're just talking off air before we went live around like start of the year, and it's hard to be positive because there wasn't much positivity coming out. What have you made of 6 games in?
Interesting point. I don't think anyone imagined we'd be only on 2 wins at this point. I think the worst case scenario was simply probably 3. I mean, starting off with a loss to Richmond in the manner was horrific, and I think that's just really clouded everything so far. If I know it's stupid to live in a hypothetical world, but if we had have won that game and lost to the opposition we did, that all of those teams are absolutely flying right now. You're probably looking at it at a bit of a different lens, but the performance and how that played out has just overshadowed everything. And now we're just in that claw things back kind of moment. And so I think these last 2 games, as much as, again, we know the opposition, as many caveats as you can put on everything right now, we just needed them. And we needed more than just the win, the performance and the glimpses that we've seen in those games. It's one thing to just beat West Coast and North Melbourne, but to do it in almost kind of like flawless ways and seem to be building off of those, you kind of can't ask for much more off those 2 games at least.
Yeah. I mean, West Coast was just the unlosable game from the standpoint of, all right, if it's 0-5, then we really might be having a crisis emergency press conference Monday morning, Wednesday morning, you know. So you get that one out of the way, but obviously it does get overshadowed by the fact that it was just West Coast. And so then you go up against North. I don't know about you. What were you thinking pre-game North? Because everyone I spoke to, I did this on purpose. I wanted to get a pulse check on, okay, where do you rate North before we play North? Like, is this going to be one of those, it was only North Melbourne games, or did you rate North more going into the game?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of bullish on North the last couple of seasons, which doesn't seem to keep panning out the way it has. I mean, going to this season, I thought they'd definitely been improving. And even some of their games, they've been in it for a little bit and then eventually kind of blown out. I thought they performed quite well against Gold Coast for the first half and then sort of dropped off. So I was kind of nervous, I guess, still going into this game because I didn't know what to trust from Carlton. And to a degree, I still don't exactly know what we are just yet. I'm going to need a bigger sample size, but we knew North Melbourne's strength is their midfield, and that's kind of been one of our worst facets of the game this season. The only time our midfield has really shown up has been in that game against West Coast, and we know you can't kind of take too much out of that game. And honestly, speaking to so many non-Carlton supporters, they were tipping North Melbourne this week. It was, I'm not sure Carlton can do it. I'm sort of 50-50. So it is kind of strange how immediately, as soon as the performance plays out how it does, the narrative immediately shifts from, North are a chance in this one, to, it's only North Melbourne, we know they're bad, which seems to always happen. And I always kind of laugh at that because it kind of comes with the territory, I think, as a Carlton supporter. But yeah, it was an interesting one how quickly that narrative shifted.
Yeah, it certainly was. I had a bit of a bite back morning after. What was it? So we played Friday, Saturday morning. I bit back a little bit. I try not to bite back to banter anymore. I don't like to get involved, but there was a Saints gentleman that thought he would be um, wise to poke the Carlton bear, and I think learnt the hard way why you don't poke the Carlton bear, because if the Carlton bear wins the game of football pre-game, that what you've said is going to come back and bite you, and you can't control the internet when you poke the bear and it comes back at you with a license to kill. So yeah, it was good. It was a good night. I think just wanted to come out with the win. The fact that it was an 82-point win, we'll touch on it shortly. We're going to cover the game now. Was pleasing. And now we're all set up for. I mean, there's no question about the opposition over the next month now. Like there's not going to be that rhetoric around, it was only so and so. It's all real, and I guess we'll find out if the form line is true or not. But you said something just there which I think is important. So I mean, the results are important. The 4 points are what's most important. But I think the method in which we were playing and the characteristics of the way in which we want to see Carlton play, because that was a big criticism over the last month. The style, the game style, modern football, it's all about ball movement. We're focusing on contest and pressure, and it's outdated. What do you make of what you've seen over the last couple of weeks now with the characteristics of the way we play?
It's been interesting. It's been really interesting. As soon as I think Vossi kind of touched on this as well in his presses, but it's like as soon as the results don't go your way, you kind of can't talk about any things that are going right during those patches. And yeah, to start the season, things were looking really, really poor. Just our inability to move the ball was horrific. And then you look at what was meant to be our one wood, that contest and pressure, that wasn't really there. The pressure's honestly, since probably round 2 has been okay. Hasn't been electrifying until these last 2 games, and we just couldn't score. That was the biggest issue going into West Coast to North Melbourne. We weren't conceding a lot, and there's a part of you that goes, okay, is our defense actually holding up? Is there parts of our game that are good, or are teams just doing enough to beat us? But now it feels like there has been a bit of a shift back to contest, or is that simply the midfield finally stepping up? Because we've been trying this sort of little short kick mark, moving it out of defense that has worked for stages, but then when the pressure's been applied, we've struggled. So it is still a bit of where are we with our game plan and what we are seeing. The positives have been there the last 2 games. The negatives have been there for the past 4. I think this next month is kind of going to show us everything we need to know about where this game plan at least exists. But at least for the last fortnight, it's been so, I guess, promising to see us at least go back to the one wood, because for the past 4, there was almost nothing working well for us. It was transitions not going well, but we're not a contested side. The identity felt very much lost. That was something I think we've been touching on in the podcast is, well, what are we trying to be? Are we trying to be a kick mark team, and is that best for us? But we need to evolve. So yeah, I think at least for the last 2 weeks, for us to go back to contest and pressure as a base has been great. And now when we come up against these good teams, it's, well, how can we be more than that? And are we more than that? Or are we just going to be that middle of the table team that is just contest and pressure?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Did you watch the game today?
Yes, that was a feisty game. One of the better games I think I've seen all season.
It was exactly the game I was hoping to watch. I was hoping it'd be full of pressure. I was hoping it'd be tough. I was hoping that they'd beat the shit out of each other. I wasn't hoping for Connor Nash to roundhouse Brian Myers. That was terrible. I mean, I'd rather play against Geelong without Brian Myers, but not because he gets knocked out cold. Do you have confidence that it stacks up, whatever we're doing against the Cats next week?
It's really interesting, honestly, because so much, I think, of the last couple of rounds in particular, the teams that have won, as much as everything feels like it's shifted towards this ball movement, how you move in the ball, a lot of the wins And the big wins have been contest and pressure. Weirdly, I think today was all of that. Was Geelong seemingly were cleaner in the contest, were winning those critical moments, and their pressure when the ball hit the ground was immense. And even, Melbourne coming back from their bad start to the season, all of that was winning clearances, scoring from there. And that's still clearly a big component of the way the game is played right now. If you're getting your hands on the footy first, if you're scoring from the easiest place, that's massive. It is going to be interesting because I'm not sure it 100% does right now. Like looking at the game today and how ferocious that pressure was applied, I was questioning, well, can we handle that? Because I'm not sure we have so far this season. When the ball has been there to be won in those really heavy contests, we've been fumbly. We've struggled to have the skill to actually execute those tough kicks to get the ball out of those dangerous areas. So, yeah, not to horrifically answer the question and maybe not answer it, but I really do think this next 5 games, we're going to find out whether we can handle it and whether it does stack up, because what we've seen these last 2 games hasn't been what we've seen over the first 4. Is that a shift, or is that us finally executing what we're ideally meant to execute?
Yeah. Adam Simpson did an analysis of Carlton in the North game. He highlighted a few of the key things here about the forward half turnovers. We forced 25 of them on Friday.
That's insane.
10 turnovers in the forward 50, which turned into 6 goals directly. 700 meters gained from center bounce. And it was basically talking around how Carlton has found its contested game again. Watching today, there were moments that it had its ebbs and flows today where the Cats, the Hawks got back into the game because the Cats started losing clearance, started losing at the contest, started losing at the set and bounces, and then I had to put Dangerfield back in there. And it's in those moments and it's in those ebbs and flows of the game that I actually have a lot more confidence watching that today, that we'll give ourselves a chance. It's just going to be a matter of if we're accurate. Where I thought we were 4 weeks ago, like say after round 2 or 3, I thought, oh shit, we're a long way away. Where I think we can be next week is a totally different proposition. I'm a lot more confident now than what I was 3-4 weeks ago, even after like the Doggies Hawthorn games.
Yeah, I think it's about the different components we have also around the main fixtures. Like even at the moment, Paddy Cripps is not playing anywhere near what we know Paddy Cripps can perform at. But at least over the last few games, everyone else has kind of stepped up. And like Will White's only 3 games in. Durden has barely played over the last couple of seasons. He's only played 2 games. Motlop, you've got Zach Williams in that forward line. Cottrell coming back in. These are the guys that when we play well, they seem to be up and about. It's these little role players. And this front half game that we kind of built everything off, I think in sort of 2023, you look at, you had Cunningham, Jack Martin, those Fogarty were probably the players we threw into there. And all of a sudden things look different and we kind of took off. Maybe, and look, anything can happen. I'm not going too early. I'm not saying this is going to transpire the exact same way, but it feels like the blend of players that are around the mainstays does look a lot better. Cottrell moving the ball inside 50, playing on the wing, being that connector works so much better. I love what I'm seeing from Will White. He's quickly becoming, I think, my favorite player from just the way he goes about it and wanting to take on those moments. Durden's form at the moment, again, it's against North, it's against West Coast, but someone has to do it. We've played West Coast, we've played these poor teams before, and Durden hasn't been flying like this. So that's the kind of the positive spin I'm taking from it. But yeah, I've been really impressed with these sort of bit part players around it, even a Matt Carroll who we've injected into this team. And all of a sudden you've got a bit of youth. You've got some guys that are excited with ball in hand. And maybe those are just those little tweaks that we've been needing. And we'll see over time if that starts to gel, if that is the thing that can take us over the edge on top of just our contested dominance.
Yeah. We just did the rating show with Pommy. We're talking about some of those tinkers that you touched on. I mean, McGovern's role, Nick Haynes' role on either side of the flanks there. They actually switched from this time last week. The accidental finding of the forward setup. Durden, Motlop playing a lot more and having a lot more of the ball inside forward 50. I mean, again, it does help when you can control the ball and you can control the ball movement and you control the territory. The heat maps all looked perfect for where we wanted to see people. You know, Adam's side a little bit further up rather than seeing him have the red zone in the back pocket. So, yeah, I am happy and I am excited, but there is also just this part of me that's like, oh, is it real? Is it not real?
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be the theme until we play this week. And that's just what it is. So maybe we'll spend 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes wrapping up on Friday. But were there any other themes and issues that came up for you on Friday that you wanted to highlight, and those of you at home as well? What was one thing that maybe hasn't been spoken about tonight that you wanted to highlight that we can use moving forward, or that you believe has changed moving forward?
I mean, there's definitely a couple things we've kind of touched on, but haven't gone too deep. I mean, just firstly, the pressure in itself. Like, if we bring that desire to chase, tackle, harass for into 4 quarters of football against any opposition, you're just going to win more games than you're not. Forget about how you move the ball. Forget about the skill of the opposition or the skill of Carlton. Pressure is everything. And if you're able to do that, that's a really exciting thing to look at. And I think it's important for us to just get that nourishment of being able to do it, tangible evidence that, hey, we can look at the tape. You've done it now. And kind of on top of that, we haven't slaughtered teams in this manner in previous seasons. We haven't done what we did to North Melbourne, I think, ever, where up until that final siren, you could see they just kept wanting to kick goals. Every single second, it was, no, we're going again. We're going again. And so much of that was built off that pressure. And then just those little team moments that for the first time we were celebrating the smothers, the tackles, the goal assists rather than the goals, which is a big shift for me that I maybe haven't noticed in previous seasons. It feels, and maybe it's just one game and we won't see it again, but I loved us getting around each other for those moments. Like Lewis Young was someone big for me this week who maybe won't get the plaudits and won't be spoken about a lot, but that bump that leads to Zach Williams' goal, that tap on the boundary, full stretch to keep the ball alive that leads to Cripps' goal, playing like little selfless roles and doing those team things that we haven't done a lot of. That's what the back end of 23 that we always go back to talk about was built off. So we can just keep continuing those little things. That's where I guess my optimism is coming from. Those are the things that I love seeing.
I like that. Yeah, there was clearly, I could be wrong, I could be guessing, but I reckon there was a clear conversation that must have been had within the group to make sure to acknowledge the goal assister. So the one that actually set it up. There was always a point. I think Adam Chera made sure to point to Charlie Kerner when Charlie passed it back to him in the third quarter. There was just more than what I had seen against the Dogs and Hawthorn and Collingwood. It was like they almost went into that self-preservation mode and got inside their own heads, and they forgot to celebrate the little acts that create energy. And I noticed that. I noticed a lot of blocking for Charlie Kerner to create space for him by Corey Durden and Zach Williams. They would like start the play, and the timing of that. I mean, Charlie's work rate was back to where I've seen it at its best. The way he worked his opponent, whoever was on him, most of the time it was Aiden Core, and he just had him guessing, and he was active and he was moving a lot. And I think even off the field, I've noticed the club's Instagram posts. They've done like the top 5 plays of the day and like as voted by you. And then it's little things like tagging or showing the account that made the vote. And actually you can see the username, like getting that interaction, getting that community engagement going, getting around the cheer squad raffle, like actually using the platform to connect with the audience rather than just have it a one-way conversation. So those are some of the things that I like nuance, but noticed this week that I thought were really important.
Yeah, I think that connection's massive, and we've felt disconnected. What we've witnessed has felt disconnected. So it goes a long way when you finally see something feel cohesive and like they're all playing for each other. I mean, we're a fan base, in my opinion, that we would rather cheer a massive tackle and a big defensive effort than a massive Charlie Curnow screamer. Because, I don't know, it feels like that's built in our DNA, this almost will to play for the jumper, the will to go out there, defend, do what you need to do for your team. As much as we do like the flashy stuff, that's almost been our DNA. So to see the boys kind of go out there and at least for 1 week embrace that. And like you said, it brings so much energy celebrating those little things where when you don't do it, everything's flat and you go to the next contest and you're not uplifted. Whereas as stupid as it is, these little just 2% things, it's no wonder we were excited to play those 4 quarters and we kept going to the end. Because imagine every time you do something, every time you lay a shepherd, get that little extra tap on, 5 blokes come up to you and give you a high five, that's going to make you stand a little bit taller and want to go into that next contest. Now, again, everything is, can we replicate this under pressure when things aren't going well? And what's that reaction? But that's going to happen over the next few weeks. We'll find that out. I think it's at least nice to take a breath and appreciate what we've seen for 1 week. And there's nothing bad about enjoying your team win a game of football. At the end of the day, you need to enjoy it.
That's why we watch, to be honest.
100%.
Easter? You celebrate Easter? Do you do what happens in your world over the Easter weekend and all the festivities?
Yeah, look, it's nothing too crazy. Sort of caught up with family, which was absolutely lovely, and had a lovely dinner. Went absolutely way too much with the food and the desserts. Mum whips up this absolutely amazing sort of hot cross bun, French toasted with berries and maple syrup. It is, honestly, it's a meal in itself. You almost don't need to eat for another month. It's like the best thing that I've ever found. And yeah, that is the highlight of Easter for me.
Hot cross bun, French toast.
Yeah, seriously, you slice them up and you almost get a hot cross bun and turn it into 3. French toast it, little bit of cinnamon in there. It is a game changer. I thought it sounded crazy the first time Mum whipped it up, but no, it is an absolute standout. So definitely, if anyone wants to try, give it a go.
Yeah, I do actually. Sounds like a dream come true.
Yeah, it makes, because I know a lot of people hate the ones with like the fruit and sort of the raisins. I don't mind them, but it turns that into an absolute sugar overload, which is absolute ideal.
Oh, yum. Okay. All right. I'm glad I asked you that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be on the agenda this week.
What about yourself?
I mean, we had Greek Easter, so it's pretty, it's just too much food, but also I don't go there usually for the one meal. I go because I get to take containers of food home. So we do a spit. We do, my grandmother makes this. My favorite thing is she makes this like chicken and corn phyllo pastry. Like we'll call it a pie, like a pie with chicken and corn mixed through it. Oof. It's my favorite, and it's very bad for me. But one day or one weekend out of the year, I go crazy. So no, I'm the same for you. I'm the same as you, and we'll get back on the horse this week, mate.
Absolutely need to after a big weekend. The issue is I've now got so much chocolate lying around, which is going to tempt me throughout. So I'll try and ration that my best.
Yeah. All right. Look, that's North. That's Good Friday. I think we're content with where it laid there. Let's move on. What else is on your mind, generally speaking, when it comes to the club now? Like where are you at? I mean, we spoke before we went live, and you know, we're fans. We can be emotional. We're emotional. It can be a bit volatile.
Yeah.
It can look like the world is closing in and the rebuild's coming to an end and the game style's not stacking up. And then in a matter of 2 weeks, it can look like, okay, maybe we can salvage something. So what are the biggest issues in your mind when it comes to Carlton, and same for you guys at home? What is the number one priority at the club right now for you? What are you seeing?
Oh, that is a great question. I mean, everything right now is just performance on field for me, and how that all works with coaching and everything. Because I think at the start of this season, expectations were high, and then you start to see these horrific performances and you start to question everything. Like we all catastrophize immediately after round 1 and think, oh no, is this not the group? You see another week's evidence, you add that onto it, you start compiling 4 games of just absolute disaster. And it's the perspective is really hard to shift and look at any kind of positive. You run your eyes over the list and you think they're all bad. This is horrific. Every single role player, we've cut the depth too thin. And then I guess all of a sudden the narrative starts to shift. Things move quickly. Like I feel like I'll always give a drive-by to St. Kilda. It's very on brand to me. I don't mean it, but they're the perfect example now where they were flying and all of a sudden 2 games of football, the media narrative shifting to, well, they're not a finals team. So I guess the perspective for everyone is you're only a couple of wins away from things completely turning. So I think as far as a supporter, I'm trying to just sit back and let things play out a little bit. But as far as, the number one thing is just how do they handle this next month of football? Because they didn't handle the start well. They've got things back. And now initially, I guess all my thoughts were very, how we're going with the new CEO, Graham Wright, what changes is he going to make? How's the coaching all looking? And now everything is kind of moved away for a few weeks. And I think I'm just sitting here waiting for the bye to kind of reassess. Because, we were 1 loss away against West Coast away from everyone's getting sacked pretty much. And maybe they've almost bought themselves a bit of time to figure it out again.
What do you think it is about the team, or maybe it's club-wide, but the characteristic of, it's almost like self-sabotage. So we all know that they're good when they're locked in and when they're focused and when they're prepared. We know they're good, and we know that their best stacks up with the best in the competition on any given round. What is it about this characteristic of almost digging themselves a hole to get out of, as opposed to being on the front foot?
It's bizarre because it just hasn't ever happened. We've always been very reactive to things, and it takes us seemingly 4 to 6 weeks to fix whatever problems ever transpire. And the first time things go wrong, round 1 against Richmond, it's taken us 4 weeks to try and figure it out, and only now. Whereas I think the tale of those really strong, great clubs is you get the response immediately. And we just kind of haven't been that. We go on these emotional runs. And I think as far as the fan perspective and where we've maybe overreacted at times has been this lack of belief that we've all had. We want to believe so badly, but every time it feels like we give ourselves up 100%, it falls away. And particularly this year, I mean, you're kind of 4 years in, you feel like we should be ahead of where we are, regardless of who the coach is, regardless of what the group is. 4 years into this iteration, we should be building on it, not almost starting at the exact same place we are every single year. So I think that's where the frustration has come from. But why we keep putting ourselves in this position, I wish I had the answers.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion and my perspective on, mediocre performers being at the club, on the field and off the field, hasn't changed. And I mean, I know that we've had two really strong performances, but I still think that is a fact. I think there's so many people there who have been rewarded or who have found a metric to justify their role at the football club for whatever that is, other than winning football games. So like that hasn't changed. However, does going on a run and winning, I don't know, and finding yourself in the finals and like having a good finals run, does that just fix everything? Because now I'm still mindful of, I am going to always get behind the team, no matter what. Always going to find a way to get up for the week after, and life goes on and footy goes on. But this underlying, it's almost like an underlying dark spot that I see maybe running into in the future. It's like, well, don't be surprised when it happens again, because you know it now. I find it really confusing to know what is real and what is not real.
Oh, 100%. And that kind of happened in 2023. I mean, we were down to this dark hole bottom 4, and it was, well, we need to make so much change. Everything was overanalyzed, and we knew at the end of the season or midway through the season, so many departments needed to be altered. Now, all of a sudden, we go on a run and, I guess maybe we overlooked all those problems. We didn't actually address anything because we just thought it was all right and we'd roll it back. And evidently, we end last season how we ended, and you start to think, well, maybe we did need to make changes. You look again last season, we weren't kind of proactive with a lot. We were somewhat proactive in bringing a Jagger Smith to the club, moving on maybe some cutthroat decisions, moving on a Kennedy, moving on an Owies. But behind that, the only move we made was changing the fitness guy. We didn't bring in any fresh voices in coaching when we knew, look, system-wise, we're not perfect. We need new answers. When we get in a hole, we struggle to get out of it. The same problems have kind of persisted over these 4 years under Michael Voss and co. There's still problems we talk about right now this week going into this run. We haven't overcome them, but we haven't really done anything to address them either. And you can kind of go back and talk about the club as a whole and maybe go and talk into the board and the whole president situation where we kind of just roll into the new guy who's been there for quite some time, and we haven't attempted to change anything. And the club have sprouted and talked about stability, but have we really done enough to deserve the stability? We've pretty much like finished 8th, finished 5th, but it was like limped into finals. So we've kind of been middle of the road 2 years in a row. 3 years in a row. Like we missed out. We finished like 9th, 5th, 8th. We haven't done a lot, really. And we haven't taken that next step. But I think when you look at it, we probably haven't addressed anything to take that next step.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to articulate it. I haven't really thought of it like that. Because you're right. I mean, we had a great run, a great finals run, followed by a good 2/3 of a season. And not much seemingly changed. Yeah. And I think
almost expecting the crop to just take that next evolution, which it may naturally do that over time. But I feel like other clubs are a lot more proactive in figuring out what's not working and making that change immediately. Whereas we just kind of hope it all fixes itself.
Yeah. It's an interesting proposition because stability does sound great. And hiring or hiring the right people in their roles or drafting the right players in their positions and allowing them time to flourish and giving them the trust provided that they're, doing what they need to do, like sounds like a good plan. And I think the biggest challenge is trying to know when do you need to pull the trigger and make the actual change. Because once you make that change and you delist that player or you trade that player, they're gone. Or you change that board, they're gone. And in our case, you get rid of the fitness boss, he's gone. Are there still fitness issues? Oh, touch wood. Soft tissue injuries. I don't think I don't want to jinx it. I'm touching wood everywhere, but I don't think up until this point of the year, we have had a soft tissue crisis, we'll call it.
And that obviously helps when a lot of those players have been moved on. But I agree, for the most part, the players that we've still got that have had those issues seem to be in really good nick. You look at some of the players running through the midfield at the moment. George Hewitt looks to be moving the best he ever has. Same with Chera. Feels like they've been very cautious with Walsh, and he's now sort of starting to get back into it, which he probably missed, I guess, 4 or 6 weeks. And now 4 to 6 weeks into the season, he's now starting to get back into it. So maybe that kind of tells you all you need to know. But yeah, there's definitely big leaders at the football club that have been there for a long time, overseen a lot, and nothing has really changed with them. And part of it is, well, who do you bring in? And are they available? I guess my brain immediately goes to kind of assistant coaches and looking at different lines. And there's a part where on one hand, you go, stability is great because assistant coaches is all about building those relationships, building that cohesion with that group of players. And sometimes you need that time. But sometimes if things aren't working, you need to make a change. You need a fresh voice in there to fix things up. We know Vossi's absolute best part of him is not tactics. That's always been his deficiency. So surround him with the right people. Question marks are still out on whether we've done that. But you could argue, well, who are those people that you could bring into the club, and have they simply not been there to bring in? I don't know. It's always a fascinating ask. And maybe they have tried to address this, but they've gone, well, the guy out there isn't better than what we've got. So we'll just stick to it for now. And I don't know if that's the right call, but there's always different sides to everything.
We'll see what happens over the next couple of months. But since Collingwood, I would say not only Voss's presses, but if I've heard Jacob Wiedering talk in media, if I've heard Chera, Cripps, Walsh, there seems to be a concerted effort to just be a bit more real and like stop talking to an audience that you think you're talking to, which is obviously a directive from the club, I guess. Dropping F-bombs, not just there's something about it. There's something about the way I've heard it. Like when Walshy was talking about, Liam Ryan kicking the first goal of the third and thinking, oh, fuck, like we better switch on here. Like that's, I think we're all thinking that and not being afraid to do that. I think it's a little thing, but I do think it's an important thing. Jacob Wiedering being just brutal and saying like we need to question mental toughness. Like if the truth is the truth, there's no like if this is what you are and this is what the truth is, the sooner we can all acknowledge it, the sooner we can all move on from it. And I think that's where that disconnect can happen at times because we all know what we're seeing out there.
Yeah.
We're sometimes led to believe that, okay, we don't know the context of what's happening out there. There's so much happening behind closed doors that we aren't privy to. And that's true. But the mental toughness conversation, as one example, has always been there. We've always had that conversation, but we don't have a player calling that out. So,
it's an interesting, sorry, you continue.
No, go for it.
I was just thinking that, and I've said this a few times, I think throughout the last few years when things have been going poorly, but it feels like at times the club, everything, I'm not just singling one department, it's almost the whole entity truly doesn't understand the fan base to a degree. And that's almost causing a lot of the issues that are there. Like we're insanely passionate to the point where there's 50,000 podcasts. We have an insane amount of fans. Clearly, I mean, Cookie has spoken about it when he came into this club. He couldn't believe how passionate the fans were. They're high, they're low, we're nuts. And it feels like that's never been truly addressed and like channeled. Like we need the leaders of this football club to be passionate, to talk to us. And at times we haven't really had that. Like we haven't had that president that's ridiculously vocal, that takes us with them on the journey and talks to us, makes us feel connected. I thought that was kind of going to be Michael Voss. Early on, you heard the way he spoke to the players, but he's never really spoken to the fans that way. And that's kind of what we need as a fan base to truly buy into everything. And at the moment, it feels like there is a little bit of a shift in that. Like we will be questioning everything. So just don't lie to us. Vossi in these press conferences is finally addressing some of these issues just head on. And that's kind of all we have been asking for in a way.
Yeah. Well, just to touch on what you said there about leaders being, the requirement to step into the fan base and like embrace it. For all the criticism of Luke Sayers and the way that 2025 started and what happened there, I will always be fair in my criticism that he's the only president that I thought, that I have seen in my experience. This is just, in my life, that he actually made the effort to give it a crack. He came on and did a live show here with us here, and people came on and asked, like, I mean, the difference between a pre-recorded interview and a live show. Like that's, he tried. He made the effort, and I'll always respect him for that. Like, yep, bit of a fuck up this year. Like it happened. It obviously not ideal, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he actually did try and embrace the modern way of talking to the fan. And I'll always be fair in that with him. And I think that is so important. Whatever they decide to do leadership-wise moving forward, maybe now that Graham Wright's coming through, like you can't be putting the fans in the too hard basket. There's got to be a way. Like, yeah, okay, when it gets venom, when it gets vicious after a loss to Collingwood like that, and it's 4 losses in a row, like, okay, let's put some distance, like fair enough. But even so, they had the open training session on the Monday. So there's some work to do. And I hope that part is, because I think that's the competitive advantage that we can have in this new world that we live in. So there is that. I want to ask you, have you or has anyone here watched Craig Bellamy Inside the Storm?
Oh, I haven't, but I probably should because I love that man.
This is like a demand. Pay whatever you got to pay for a month of Stan, or if you find a website online, watch it. It goes for about an hour and a half. It's about the Melbourne Storm. It's about Craig Bellamy and some of the principles in there. And I wanted to take you through some of the things that I wrote down. I watched it over the weekend. It is absolutely incredible when it comes to, you know, culture and habits and language. Like, I mean, Craig Bellamy is a fucking asshole in the sense of says it how it is. He fucking swears. It's direct. It's, you know, but it comes from a loving place. And there's just this ultimate respect, right? And, you know, some of the things that I wrote down here, which I think of Carlton and what can be applied there. He spoke about, you know, hard workers get lucky. He brought in Billy Slater at the start of a preseason to talk about the Storm culture. And Slater said something really profound, which I think we can relate to Carlton. He said, you know, they were talking about like the great Melbourne Storm. You come here and you've got a great reputation from yesteryear or the years that have gone past. And he said, I hope no one here is saying that I have got to live up to the culture of the Melbourne Storm. You've got to create your own culture. I think there's something in there about the current landscape of Carlton. Like sometimes I can feel like the weight of the past of Carlton and the premierships can weigh down the current and the future. And I think the important part is there that they have to create their own version of it. It's not because we are Carlton that we're going to be successful. It's because of what we're about to build or we're trying to build that we're going to be successful. So I thought that was important. There was a really big emphasis throughout the entire doco around defensive actions being consistent. It was like a common phrase throughout. And maybe it's a different sport. Maybe it doesn't apply, but I think it does apply. And then there was this one. Craig Bellamy was talking about, you know, 5-year plans. And he said, I don't like 5-year plans because that's your mentality. Your mentality is, oh, we're going to be better in 5 years. You've got to be the best that you have to be now. And that one hit me the most because I think I've sat here falling for 2 or 3 5-year plans. And I think if I hear that one more time, I'm not going to be enough of that. It's about be the best you can be right now, because I think the club has had a bit of a mentality of, oh, but it's the 5-year plan. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of what's coming. So those were some of the things that I took from it. The last one was Bellamy talking about, you know, players who are passionate about playing rugby or playing football in the NRL and what they stand for there. And it's like, if you're not passionate about playing football here, you can't be here. Don't be here. Like, go play for another club. I hope that principle is instilled at Carlton. Like, if you just want to get a paycheck, no worries. Go play at North. Go play somewhere else. Like, to play here, you must be passionate about playing football and playing football here. And I hope that has been instilled. I actually don't think it has enough. And I hope that it's going to be turned up a little bit, because that's the requirement. To make something special where people buy into it, you have to reward those that actually do, in my view.
Oh, 100%. And I think you talk about the mentality of this team, and it's been questioned a lot because, look, let's be honest, there's been so many different iterations, different moments where it's been there and we've faltered and we've absolutely bottled it. And that can be incredibly hard to change. And I wonder, with some of our recruiting in particular over the last few years, I've noticed a lot seem to be always a captain of the junior team, captain of wherever they are. And I wonder if little things like that have kind of been picked up on this journey of maybe we've just been recruiting the wrong kind of player and rewarding those, oh, well, he has really good skills in this department, so we're going to bring that talent in rather than the mentality side. Because I've noticed that kind of shift in particular these last couple of seasons. And it really is interesting with that 5-year plan thing you were just saying. As soon as I heard it, it resonated with me because it feels like a very tokenistic thing Because every single club comes out with theirs and they go, we want to win the premiership. And you're like, great. And I understand from a business point of view in anything, you do need goals. You need to set out the end goal and how you're going to get there. But 5 years feels like a lot in an industry that moves so quickly and things shift immediately. And I wonder how much we are committed to certain elements because we've laid them out on a piece of paper, on some spreadsheet somewhere, hung it up on the wall and said, well, we have to do this because this is our 5-year plan. And maybe we need to pivot on certain things. Maybe that's something that's letting us down. We are just beholden to this plan because we said it, when a smarter individual would say, okay, yes, you need to stick to some things, but we need to pivot here because it's fading away. And yeah, those cultural elements everywhere has been definitely things that I've been trying to pick up in different places. And maybe some of them are really dumb, but this was something that like stood out to me. I listened to Adam Uze on Dylan Friends, if you've listened to his series on talking to some of the coaches, and it was something as stupid as Uze was talking about the Richmond culture of like jumper numbers. And like, this is so nuffy areas, but their whole culture is, if you're a big draftee, you haven't earned anything yet, you don't get the flashy number. Like they didn't give, Lawler Dusty's number because, well, he hadn't earned Dusty's number, and they'd rather reward someone who's been at the football club a few years, have done something, and then you get to change your number. And then I think to kind of us over the last, since I started really supporting us through like the Mark Murphy kind of rebuild era, it's been flashy new toy. Here's the perfect jumper number for you. You get the high number, and we kind of never let anyone earn it. And it's such a stupid thing, and it might have genuinely zero impact. But when our culture hasn't been amazing and it feels like the guys in there haven't earned heaps, you start to look at those little things and wonder, would they have an effect if we're not just giving Jesse Motlop the number 3 straight away? If Ollie Hollins doesn't play one season, then we give him number 4. They're just those cultural things that you start to think, what are ours and how are we demonstrating that? Because the output isn't there. And that's when you start to look at everything underneath.
Yeah, it's a good, I mean, even if you think of something like how many years did we have the facility that was being built? World-class facility, saunas and ice baths, and this is like top level. What we're building at the Carlton Football Club is going to be state of the art. We've got an area there for the women's program and an area there for the men's program and the indoor facility. So now all of a sudden it's like there was this belief that, because we've got the great facility, that's going to make us better prepared to win football games. And then you just realize, and then at some point I realized, well, okay, that's great. But what we just did is we moved a bunch of people who have X mentality, which is not championship level, and we just put them in a flashy new facility, rewarded them with like an upgraded workplace, but the mentality didn't change with it. So look, best case scenario is after 0-4, the whole club got together in their different departments and just cut the shit and sorted it out. And, we're having this conversation, Ian, you and I, in September, and we've made a prelim and we're about to win and go play in a granny. And we'll look back and say, we overcame some adversity. We were in a hole, and they all looked at each other and they did the thing that they needed to do and made the changes that they needed to make internally, and away we go. That I hope for nothing more. I hope for absolutely nothing more. I hope to be reacting to clips of things that I said at the start of the year, where I said we were fucking shit and we suck. And I hope to be saying, oh, how wrong I was. But yeah, it's just this mentality shift, this collective shifting mentality that just has to happen. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, no. And the frustrating part, I think, of it is, anytime things go bad, it's like, oh, we'll have these honest conversations. And you're thinking, well, how often can you have these honest conversations? You had them before. And it all kind of goes back again to that unfortunate, like, I always hate bringing it up because we didn't do anything off the back of it. But 2023, we went away. We apparently sorted out all these issues. And now we're at the point where we need to question the mentality. And now we kind of believe that it's shifting. It's like, well, didn't that happen before? Why are we in the same spot? I thought we sorted this out. And so I think, yeah, the negative side of it for me, now that finally the rhetoric coming out of the football club seems to be a little bit more authentic with us. I guess the worry is, well, is it too late? And maybe that's been what has been spoken about internally all the time. I know Lockie on the pod is always, maybe what Vossi isn't saying in the presser is what he's saying to the boys. Maybe he is harder and a bit more clear with certain things and is addressing this. But when we only see, the start to this season, everything looks fine to me. No, Charlie looked good. And you're like, I saw it. It wasn't good. Just tell me it wasn't good. And now it feels like they've shifted, but is that too late as a leader if now your whole aura around you and the way you're communicating has shifted? Is it too late to go along with you? That's, I guess, the worry. But to be positive, they've got to get out of this hole. It's up to them. And we'll come along, of course, because we're fans and we'll be there regardless. And we were there these last 2 weeks and we loved it. We love a win. We'll support you for it, but take us on the journey. Be there with us. Talk to us like we're humans. And then maybe when things go bad, we won't be as reactive.
Yeah.
But they got to the bye to see what they've got.
Look, you beat Geelong on Sunday and
things shift.
It's not fixed, but it's the first win of the season with genuine merit. And I think that goes to show, that speaks to the respect that most of us have for Geelong as a footy club and as a team in 2025. And nothing is just magically fixed in 2025 if we win this Sunday. However, you build serious momentum if you beat Geelong on Sunday. And I know that it is one game, but I really do think of the difference between a win and a loss on Sunday. Like in a loss, okay, maybe it's expected that we're going to lose because we won't be favorite, but a win just helps build and mend some 2025 belief.
No, a win is massive. And I think as much as we've gone over these last 2 weeks and said, look, it's only these two teams, we can't take anything away from it, I don't think we need to overreact, particularly to a loss against Geelong, a poor performance. I'm still in the mindset of we need to see this next month because, again, there's a world where you have one poor week and then 3 amazing ones, and you just don't want to be that overreactive person at this moment because we know Geelong are a really good football team and we kind of don't know what we are just yet. We're still kind of middle of the pack. It's up to us to get out of that. But a win, all of a sudden, the belief really starts to be there. And you just never know what can be built off the back of that. But as far as in the club, Graham Wright is, and I hate putting the Messiah on one person. It feels like we're already doing that with Graham Wright to an extent, but he's at least someone that he's been in good programs. And my faith is that he's someone that doesn't mess around and he will look through these departments and hopefully be able to know what isn't working. And if everything turns to shit, at least it's easy to make decisions and move things on when things aren't going well. And maybe that's what we needed. That was kind of what I was talking about before the West Coast game when we were starting to look a little bit better, is if things go bad, it's easy just to press that button and make change. So it's going to be an interesting next month or so.
It will be. Lana, yes, have seen the video of Wiedering looking like he says the words PCL. There was a report from Sam Edmund on the weekend that said Wiedering all clear. So I guess we'll find out in 24 hours. The injury report usually comes out, I think it's 5 p.m. on a Tuesday, 5 or 6 p.m. But ultimately we'll find out Sunday if Wiedering's going to play. Ian, going into Sunday, what do we know so far? What we know is Brian Myers will not be playing.
Yes.
After what we saw today. What we know is the Cats are coming off that's going to be a 6-day break. So there's that. Let's talk about, would you make any changes? Assuming Harry puts his hand up and says, I'm available. What do you do?
I've wrestled with this a lot today, to be honest. And I think I'm in a very unpopular opinion, but I'm not bringing Harry in. And that may seem insane, but I think Pommy kind of got in my head last week about this forward line role. And I kind of want to see it again because most teams in the AFL, firstly, don't play with 3 tall forwards. And I was critical of that at the start of the season because we have kind of needed that third marking tall. Jack Martin type players seem to work well. This kind of more medium, mobile pressure player. Kemp kind of wasn't that. Now, all of a sudden, we've kind of lucked into having to play a lot of other smalls. You've got Charlie at the moment, obviously the main man. You've then got this Lewis Young just playing a role, being selfless. And that, again, it's only North Melbourne, it's 1 week. But that seems like how a lot of other teams play. No one else really plays with 2 dominant key forwards. And if we want Harry back in there, one of them has to be a lot more selfless. One of them needs to do those little team things that a Lewis Young was doing. We know his talent isn't amazing, but he played his role and it benefited everyone else. This selflessness is when Carlton plays the best. And if Harry comes back in, I think we just need to have so much clearer roles of one's in the forward line, one is out and being a decoy. We just need those more defined roles. And apart from that, I think the other things would probably be, look, Elijah wasn't amazing first game back. I'd probably just give him more time to do it because we know how good he can be. I liked Cooper Lord coming on and kicking 2 goals. Does he maybe find his way into the team? Probably the only player whose performance I wasn't in love with, and it feels harsh to talk about it, but it was like a Lockie Fogarty, simply because he's in there for his pressure. But if all the other smalls are bringing the pressure now and kicking goals, and Fogarty kind of isn't that goal kicker, is there room to fix his role around and bring someone else that can add a different dimension? That's probably what I'm looking at. But yeah, if I made any change, it'd probably, just be Harry for Lewis, but I'm not opposed to giving the man another week because I think he's performed.
Yeah, I'm a bit more concerned about Harry, more so from the standpoint of head knocks.
Yeah.
It's been a number of them now. Harry is a better footballer than Lewis Young. No question about it. No question about it in my mind. It's just that it's just such a delicate conversation. I mean, the mental health conversation about Harry is sort of like here. And then there's like the reality of how many more head knocks, how many more concussions. I'm just really concerned, and I want to be almost overly safe and give him, like, honestly, like 4 more weeks, maybe that's crazy, but I'm just so delicate with it. I fear that 1 more, 2 more is it. I'm not trying to be, overly, dramatic, but this is the truth. How many head knocks can a player have before it starts to become a real serious conversation? Like, fuck footy for a moment. Like, it's about his life, So I'm just mindful of that. Like, yeah, the idea of Harry just inserting himself into this team and being the best version of him, of course I want that to happen because that means we're likely to win the game. It's just I'm bringing myself back down to reality of, well, how do we manage Harry now for this season and hereafter? So I guess that's part of the conversation around being a fan and not knowing 100% of the details. Maybe Harry's fine. Maybe he's completely fine and he just copped another knock and he's recovered well and he's good to go. And that'd be great. But I'm just mindful.
It's so delicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, you look at other sports like NFL, like Tua from the Dolphins has had so many concussions and so many that he'd have a massive concussion and full be like seizing on the field. And you're being like, oh my God, I'd never want to, like, that's horrific to watch. Yeah. I can't imagine what you're dealing with. And then he'll eventually pass all the tests and sort of come back. And you're thinking, should we maybe let him stay just a bit longer? And maybe that's the thing with Harry. Like, we don't want him getting to a stage where that happens, or even like a Will Pukowski, where it becomes such a minor thing, a minor bump that sort of triggers the concussion. There's still so much we don't know about them that it becomes really, really tough. So I think the conservative approach is always the best thing with these. And I think injuries overall, we've never really done that. We haven't given people that extra week most of the time. So it's probably not a bad thing to do in this sense, because heads are just so important right now. And particularly with everything then going on with Harry, yeah, I would not be wanting to risk anything.
Yeah. Did you watch the VFL?
I watched the last quarter, so I didn't
Right.
have maybe the greatest grasp on it all. Yeah, so there wasn't too much that I saw to potentially bring in.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I read the report. I watched the highlights that Carlton Blues fans put up, and this is a classic example of where things can get led astray, right? So Harry Lemmy's highlights got up, kicked 3 goals, 3 beautiful, like a couple of great set shots there. He's not named in the best, which was done by the coaches, right? Moya kicks 2, not named in the best. Pito and Francis Evans named in the best. So I don't know if there's someone else out there that watched it, maybe you can give some context. The other one I'm not sure of where he's at is Jordan Boyd.
Yeah.
What's going on there? Like what's happening? Is he falling out of favor? Is he didn't seem like he was in form based on surface level statistics that I saw from the VFL game. I reckon 2 weeks ago I was saying, well, we need Boyd's kicking in the team. He was brought in and maybe subbed out from memory or whatever it was. Like, I'm just not sure about that whole situation.
It felt like early on into this season, he was exactly what we were needing. And particularly because we were going these like 4 tall defenders and that wasn't seemingly working. I'm still hesitant with that as things are, just because most teams don't seem to roll with it. And maybe Boyd's the perfect one to complement that. And maybe a Haynes or a McGovern drops out in that. But yeah, I don't seem to be hearing a lot about him performing extremely well at VFL to earn the call up. Seemed like Carroll was performing a lot better. He's come in, set the world alight so far. And you just never know with this. Lockie and I love to sort of speculate and look at the other perspective a lot on team selection when everyone wants a certain player in and then all of a sudden they aren't. And you're going, but it seems so obvious. And you never know if it's just genuinely something as simple as maybe Jordan Boyd was late to a training session. And so he's in the doghouse a little bit. Maybe there is just, as much as he's doing something well, there's one thing that they are asking him to do each and every week or each and every training, and he keeps stuffing it up. And so every time they're like, well, I can't bring you in because I'm asking you this one specific thing that no one will ever know. And like sort of same with sort of keeping Doherty in this team. I know a lot were calling for him to come out, but as maybe poor as he was performing in game, there's a potential that the guy who was next in line to take his spot every single training session, Doherty is blitzing him and doing everything right. And you're going, well, I can't reward the other guy because you're not outperforming him at training. Like there's all these little nuances that I feel like us as fans, me included, we don't think about when it comes to team selection. And maybe it is as simple with Jordan Boyd as they're asking him to do this one thing and he just isn't executing right now. But it does seem strange given his skill set and what we need that he's just not in contention right now.
So no changes potentially on the cards, go in unchanged.
Yeah. I like to reward the team that performed. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think Harry's the simple in for Lewis Young to just get a better player in. You're coming up against a really good Geelong backline. It makes sense. I'm probably crazy for saying keep Lewis Young in over Harry, but back them in. Give them the bit of cohesion. I mean, Vossi kind of mentioned this, and it's an easy out if you want the positive side of things. In this backline hasn't had much time together. Jack Silvani's never played in defense. We haven't played with 4 talls. Matt Carroll hasn't played in defense for us before. You look at that forward line, it's never really lined up at the moment. There is a lot of different iterations of players and different roles. So maybe it just needs time. Maybe that's simply it. Maybe the club needed to be a little bit more dull the expectations at the start of the year and say, look, we're trying a bunch of different things because we knew what happened last season wasn't working. And we might be taking a step back to go forward. And you won't like that, but that's just what we're doing. And there's a potential that that's what we're seeing right now. I'm hopeful that's it. But yeah, as far as changes, probably not doing a lot this week.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair. You'll be going to the game?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm so happy that we're here because now it's all real. I mean, it could all be dead by Sunday night. We could be sitting here just wallowing in how we're just not good enough and what's happening. But geez, we can just get up on Sunday. Oh, I really do believe it'll do a lot for the igniting the engine of 2025. I really, truly believe it will. It won't win over everyone's hearts, but it'll do something for it. It'll be one of those nights if we get up because people respect.
Mentally, we need one of these wins just to truly prove to everyone. So it's not this narrative of, out of 15 games, we've only beaten North and West Coast or whatever it is. And you're like, how far back are we looking in seasons that the context doesn't matter anymore? But again, it's up to us to try and fix that and try and prove that. We need to beat someone of substance. We got the perfect opportunity this week against Geelong to get that done. And it's exciting. And I kind of want to mention this because I feel like there's been this narrative as well that it's like a bad thing to get sucked in and show up the next week and hope that you've turned the corner. And it's like, no, that's what we're a fan. That's our whole job is to build ourselves up each week and go in like an idiot and think we're doing it this week. This is the time we're going to turn it around. And we might all go to this game Sunday, get blitzed by Geelong and then think we're idiots. But there's nothing bad about that. That's our whole job as a fan is to be there, cheer them on, get behind them. And then if it all goes to shit, we go back and we do it again next week. Like that's our role as a fan. And I feel like that needs to be changing because and I'm guilty of it as well early this season where it starts to go to shit and we sort of all just sit back and go, they've got to prove it to me before I get sucked back in.
Yeah.
But like we're here again. So we are getting sucked back in. So let's just embrace it.
No, I get
that's kind of where I'm sitting right now.
It is interesting. I get people that'll come in. They're either they come into a live chat or they'll comment on a video and they'll be like, it's one of two or three sentiments. One of them is, we've only beaten so-and-so. The other one is don't get so worked up over the win. And it's like, I'm not. But I can only review round 6. That's all I can review. When round 7 comes, I'll do a round 7 review.
You could be happy at the performance, but also not happy at other things. It's like you're allowed to be both. One doesn't equal the other. And equal, like if someone is genuinely sitting there going, look, I'm not going to get excited until I see something. You are absolutely entitled to be a fan that way. I'm not saying you're not. It's more the people that then feel guilty for being happy about it. Like we beat North and you had a good time. Like, no, you're allowed to have a good time. Your team just won. And that's kind of what I'm trying to embrace at the moment.
The irony of the people who take the time to come and click into YouTube, find the channel, click onto the live stream or your show or whatever, write a comment. They're also fans, even though they're typing a comment that might say to someone else to not get excited. It's like, well, if you're really unhappy about Carlton and you really don't care and you're really that angry, you wouldn't go out of your way to tell someone else to not be happy and enjoy their life just because, like everyone cares. Even if they say like they're over it, everyone still cares. So I'm under no illusions there. 2 more bits. Number 1, Wednesday, there is I'm pretty sure there's an open training. Like,
I believe they called it a viewing session actually, which was, I don't know what's going on there, which is strange that they're changing the words on things.
So, they have a new one. Okay. Our next viewing session will be this Wednesday. Okay. Wednesday, 23rd of April. What does it say here? Keep an eye on the Carlton website as the new viewing sessions will be released monthly. All right.
Ooh,
hey,
that's big.
They're going to be making them a regular thing. This is positive. Well done. Mate,
absolutely.
whoever has put this in place, well done. Like, please take my praise. I don't know what time it's starting. I went to the last one and it started like the gates were open from like 9:30 and training sessions started at 10 a.m. No signings. That's right. It's just the guys training. So it's just go and watch them train. But also I think more importantly, it's like, let's build some energy. Like it's actually, for me, it's really cathartic going there. The last time I went was after Collingwood, when I was at my most venomous, like angry, filthy, like called all of them out, like fucking pathetic. And I still went because I fucking love this joint, no matter what. So I think it's important that they get some kudos for making themselves available and opening up the doors, even though it's once every 2 weeks. It's a start, and I hope it becomes a regular thing.
100%. Like, we need this connection to our football club, and I can understand reasons as to why they shut everyone out of a lot of the trainings, but when you look at other clubs that their ovals are public and anyone can walk by, you think, okay, just let us in a little bit at least, please. So no, massive. Yeah, Wowdy saying that Graham Wright initiated it. I mean, that's massive. Those are the little things that they make such a big difference. Like, we're talking about this because to us, this is everything. We want to see this club. We want to go to everything possible. Like, that's just what we are. So they're always a positive. Get us closer and more connected for sure.
Yep. Aaron, spot on. The best part about the viewing sessions is they don't, I mean, I don't want to say this and then they start playing music, but they don't play music. So I bring my laptop as well. Other people bring their laptops. There's always a little spot you can go to, take a phone call, answer emails. It's just good. Like, it's just good to just be there and go get a coffee at the Carlton Cafe and just be around the club. Obviously, I don't think I need to tell people don't be idiots. We're not going to be idiots. We just want to go and feel like we're connected to something. So that is Wednesday. And then Sunday, they're doing a 30-year celebration, wheeling out the legends.
Is that concerning? Well, they have to do it. I think this one makes the most sense out of all the ones they've ever done. Like, because it is an anniversary of, like, the last premiership. But let's just hope.
How many decades,
it isn't overdone.
I get what you're saying, because it's also the Anzac Day weekend, so I don't know how they're going to do it on the day. I don't know. I don't know if the legends are going to be on the ground as the banner's up and the boys. I don't know what they're actually doing, but I know that there's some sort of a function. I'm curious. Do you think there'll be like how many decades do you keep doing it? Like,
well, that's it, isn't it?
50-year reunion, like.
And like the more you have them, it feels like it diminishes what they are. Like, I think the function side of it is 100%. Like, we do it. Like, it's great to let the guys that sacrifice their bodies and left everything for this football club, give them the moment, make them feel connected to the football club. It's then just obviously the game day experience that feels, until we get success, is always going to feel wrong. Because, like, I was born the year after, so it kind of doesn't, I don't have that connection to the grand final. Like, I watched it on tape so many times as a kid, but I wasn't there to experience it. So right now, all I want and all I think about is the boys out there. Like, and I feel like this sentiment has been spoken about a lot, where we don't necessarily, as bad as it is, like, that's not my grand final. I'm more focused on the boys out there getting the job done. So it is this interesting element. And I feel like you have talked about this quite a lot. And a lot of the voices in the Carlton community have been quite on this the last few years. So that kind of makes me very interested to see how it plays out this year and see if they've listened at all to maybe what the fans want to see.
Honor the legends by beating Geelong on Sunday. That's it. That's all. That's my take. There is a suggestion that Steve Silvani won't be there, and that is what it is. I've said a number of times now. I look forward to the day where the relationship between the Silvani family and the Carlton Football Club is mended, and that's going to take tough conversations from both sides, I would think. But I would hope that there is a reality in the future, sooner rather than later, where that's fixed and forgiveness can happen. And, there were likely things that happened on both ends which are not great. I don't know the facts of exactly everything that went down, but there are likely to be things that both sides would say to the other side, like, "Oh, why did you do that?" or "Why did you do that?" But is there also a reality where we just, forgive and mend and fix, because it just, like, Jack's playing at the club. It's sad. Like, it's, you know, we're talking about like one of the greatest players to play for the club, and someone whose family has given so much to the club. And I hope that there is a reality where that happens ASAP.
Yeah. And it's like the blokes that he'd be there with, I'm sure, are some of his closest mates. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like, you just feel sad that he, for his own reasons, and he's allowed to have them, that he doesn't want to be connected right now. And obviously all the fans want him to be connected, because we want him to know how much he means to us, and that his accomplishments, you know, aren't for nothing. But yeah, it's just going to be, hopefully time can heal that one, because yeah, he's an absolute legend, and we want him to feel proud, I think, more than anything, of his time at the club in any capacity, because he means so much to us.
Speaking of, Lana, spot on. Give Jack a contract offer now.
He's been unbelievable.
Because that price is only going up. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Ian, mate, you've been a star. Great. Just great energy you are.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been nice to be able to do this in a bit more of a positive light. I think my sort of shtick is trying to find the positive when things aren't going well. So at least it's been a little bit easier. It doesn't feel as delusional to come on and say things are at least a little bit positive. But no, it's great therapy always. Win, loss, draw. These are the conversations that I think we all need to be having. So it's great to be able to do it here with you in the chat.
Yeah. Navy Blue Corner, when does the next installment come? What do we have to look out for?
Yeah, so hopefully be dropping tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, Lockie is long-time listeners of the channel will know he's in London at the moment, sort of semi-permanent, and he's been enjoying a lovely Easter trip to the Netherlands. So I haven't been able to get him on for the podcast. So it's a bit of a solo one that'll be dropping tomorrow morning. And then I might be able to try and weasel in maybe a midweek little episode with the great man Lockie, if the fans want it. If they want a bonus episode, we can make it happen. So you got to let us know. But yes, Navy Blue Corner on the socials, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to it, Navy Blue Corner, it's on there everywhere. So yeah, dropping hopefully tomorrow morning.
Cool. We'll look out for it. And yeah, we look forward to hearing and seeing you again. Thanks very much for being here, ladies and gents. Thank you for tuning in. There's Monday, and see you tomorrow. Go Blues.
Go Blues.